lately I've been studying the ancient Greek language, which has been fascinating, and I don't say this just to be pretentious. I mean, maybe a little bit. I just got a little, graham cracker crumbling of pretentiousness, just to make it interesting, make it a little exciting. However, I have a point to this. There is a really fun, exciting moment when you get to feel so much like catharsis when you discover that a word you've been using your whole life is actually a combination of various Greek roots and kind of bases. And so Utopia is one of them. Utopia was actually created by this man named Thomas More. He wrote a book called Utopia, and Utopia actually it means no place in Greek. It's also kind of good place. You can kind of there's a little bit of a connection there as well, so it's kind of like a pun actually, which is pretty clever, I think. However, I disagree with Mr. Thomas More. Because in his book, Utopia, basically the thesis is that, this perfect society is impossible. But I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. I think just because this idea has been circulated so much, through postmodern philosophy, the idea that, there is no God, there is no, Easter Bunny, there is no Queen of England, and that, everyone's living for themselves and kind of utilitarian and whatever does the best good and the least evil is the correct thing. And I think it's a slippery slope for sure. And we tell ourselves, I am living in this world that's imperfect and nothing can change, and I'll just do my best, but who cares at the end of the day? But that is destructive, in my opinion. And in the Greek culture, they have this word. They have it's called arete. It's the idea of excellence. And you see, the statues, they're all like buff and they're all, perfectly formed. And not only were they really kind of enamored with the human perfect form, but also with the human perfect, mind, what the ideal intellect. And so it wasn't enough just to be strong. You had to be smart as well. And, they would make fun of you if you weren't a nerd and if you weren't strong. So it's like, you can't win in your Greek high school. You got to be a jack of all trades. But I think there's something really noble about that, and something that our culture has kind of lost is the idea of of creating excellence, creating greatness, striving for something greater. And I think we can do a lot better with this. We can take the idea of I'm going to be the best possible version of myself, and not only that, but I'm going to treat others as if they were the best possible versions of themselves. I think that utopia is possible, and the idea that we can't do this has infected our minds, I think, so deeply that many of us have stopped trying. But I believe, like, ripples in a pond, if one person is able to, project this arete into people so they have the excellence, they see, wow, that person is amazing. The person is so kind. The person is so, smart. I want to be like that person. And they will go out and treat others differently. And instead of having, some dictator saying, oh, do this and do this and do this, we don't need no President Snow, overseeing and trying to force these ideas on people. That won't work. They need to adopt them themselves when they're inspired by others. And the idea of a role model, I feel like, has been so marred by just the most, morally bankrupt celebrities that are, role models that, are people you would never want to be like and have absolutely no moral ground to stand on. But I think we need to have, everyday heroes. And if we can create that, we can change the world. And I think it's possible. I think we can do it. And we just need to change the way that we treat others. And hopefully they'll change the way they treat others. And eventually we'll change the way the world works.